Welcome to What the Plus, a look at the last century of pop culture as filtered through Disney Plus. I'm Garrett Martin. I write about all kinds of entertainment, from games to music to TV to theme parks. And although I don't necessarily focus on Disney in my day job, you can't really talk about pop culture today without that company lurking somewhere nearby. So hey, why not start a podcast about it, right? I mean, there's enough of these things out there in the world today anyway. So every week on the show, I'm going to have a guest. They're going to pick one show or movie from Disney Plus, and we're going to talk about it in detail, see how it stacks up today, to see what it says about us as a culture back then, what it says about us as a culture today, what it says about Disney as a company. And it's open to anything that's on Disney Plus, even stuff that Disney didn't actually make, like the original Star Wars trilogies or The Simpsons. The thing that's really interesting about Disney Plus from a critical standpoint is how it really does offer an overview of how entertainment has grown and changed over the last century, but from a very specific focus, which of course is Disney's focus on family entertainment. Even the stuff that Disney didn't make that's on here, like Star Wars or those Fox movies, are still basically family films. They didn't put Alien on here, like Sound of Music. Yeah, that's a Fox movie that'll stick, but you're not going to see, like Die Hard or anything like that on Disney Plus. And, seeing how that concept of family entertainment has changed over the years, it really says a lot about society. It does, people. Okay, I know that sounds pretentious as all heck, so let me rephrase it like this. Two people are going to talk about movies or cartoons or TV shows. Maybe you'll want to listen. I'm digging deep into all my interests when it comes to guests. So expect comedians, critics, other writers, musicians, theme park experts, Disney experts, maybe even pro wrestlers. And they're all going to have a few things in common. They're all going to be smart, interesting, entertaining. They're all going to want to talk about something on Disney Plus. And they're all actually willing to return my emails. So that's what the show is. This is the first episode. Thank you for listening. Let's get on with it and welcome my first guest, comedian, writer, performer, and recent Emmy nominee, Jamie Loftus. So I'm here with Jamie Loftus, a writer, comedian, podcast host, performer. Are you an actor? Do you act? Do you consider yourself an actor?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
And an actor too. Good. How's it going, Jamie?
It's going different every day. Today, so far so good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you've been out there doing your business in Los Angeles, which I know has been hit hard by the pandemic. How's that impacted you and your life so far?
I mean, right now in Los Angeles, things are it's so up and down. We're still getting heat waves, and like less than 2 weeks ago, you couldn't go outside because the air wasn't usable. Yeah. So it's just been kind of a particularly wild year here, but it's been good. I mean, I've been like encouraged by the kind of mutual aid that is been taking place in my area, and it seems like, I mean, it is just really skyrocketed in the past 6 or I guess almost 7 months now. Mm-hmm. And so that has been that's like what I feel positive about, because like our city government mostly sucks. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, we're being failed on every level, as are most places, but
it's universal at this point. I don't know if there's any city or town in America where people are feeling good about things right now.
Yeah, exactly. So feeling bad about that, but feeling good about the community I'm a part of. And so there's are things to feel good about. That's where I'm trying to like stay at if I possibly can.
Yeah. Your Twitter has become very politically motivated over the last several weeks. I've noticed, like, you doing outreach for the homeless and all the less fortunate out there in Los Angeles. That's becoming like a compounding, even worse than usual issue right now during all of this, right?
Sure. Yeah, I've been working with a local coalition for over a year now, but there's just been such increased need, especially with like there's a whole set of needs that come when it's over 100 degrees and people are outside, and there's a whole set of issues when the air is bad, batteries, and you can't, like, it's unsafe to be outside. And so there's just kind of been this unusual uptick, and usually you can like previous to the pandemic, I would usually just like go to coalition led events and, do my part and then kind of go home. But it just like, isn't as much of an option now. There's just, it's like people have been organizing independently and people are talking about it more because it's like, hopefully we can convince other people to do it. And yeah, a lot of shit going on. And like you're saying, yeah, the unhoused population is rising so quickly because no one will cancel rent. So it's like, we're just trying to stay organized and see how much we can do. So yeah, I've just been following the lead of local organizers who I've just like been very generous with their time and knowledge.
Yeah. As terrible as things have been the last several years, and especially this year, if it leads to people getting more involved in their communities and doing more to help out, maybe it will be overall a net positive eventually,
Mm-hmm.
Let's not talk about such serious things. That's not the point of this show, and I'm sorry I immediately took us in that direction.
Here we are, 9 in the morning for me.
I mean, it's noon for me, but honestly, I've only been up for like an hour. So, but you recently, okay, so just to give some backstory, show how the sausage is made a little bit. This is the second time we've recorded this call. The first time I totally whiffed it and forgot to record things accurately. And that was a few weeks ago before the Emmys aired. And we talked on that call a lot about how it felt to be an Emmy nominee. Now the time has passed, and I think you lost to Forky, right?
We did. We lost to Forky.
That's on Disney Plus. We could have talked about Forky if you wanted to.
I'm never going to watch that show. Are you fucking kidding me? No, I would say just hard line. Fuck Forky. I don't wish him well. I think, I don't know. Yeah, no, it was really fun. I mean, the most fun part about that was just like, the amount of depressing everything is funny in that situation specifically, because it's like, who fucking cares? But then it's like someone mails you a $5 bottle of wine and then they send you a YouTube link to watch the Emmys, and then you lose to Forky, and then you're just like at your house. It's very disorienting.
They gave you
at 5 in the afternoon too, also while the sun is still out.
And the sky is blood red. They sent you a bottle of wine, like the Emmy people, the Academy or whatever.
Yeah, they did this thing that it was, again, I was just like, my God. It was very nice that they mailed you like a mask and a really cheap bottle of wine. The reason I say it's a really cheap bottle of wine is because you can tell that they had removed a bottle of vodka and replaced it with a really cheap bottle of wine, because the box was full of vodka recipes for like Svedka. So I think that actual Emmy nominees nominated for real awards that aren't fake and in competition with, let's say, Forky, received a bottle of vodka where they were just like, oh, they sent out an intern to 7-Eleven and they're like, oh, let's actually save the vodka for people who are not subhuman.
For the cast of Modern Family.
Exactly. I am bitter about losing to Forky, and I'm going to carry it through my life.
It's actually a funny show, though. I mean, so you were nominated. You wrote for Robot Chicken that season. What was the category that you were nominated in?
I honestly don't know. It was like I think it was Outstanding Short Form Animated. Yes, that was it.
Which the Forky show was very short form. They were like 2-minute episodes or something.
Yeah, why couldn't they be nominated for Outstanding Expensive YouTube Video? I don't know. It was the people who wrote Forky were like two old Pixar guys who, like, when they zoomed in their acceptance speech, they were sitting in front of a wall of awards. I'm like, you don't need this. Get the fuck out of here.
Man, did you ever like before you got Emmy nominated, was that something that like you were ever thinking could happen or that you were hoping could happen?
No, never. I mean, no, it was exciting. There were so few things to be excited about that it was nice. And then it just became like, oh, there's something to like look forward to and wear something for. My boyfriend and I we got COVID tested and we went to the JCPenney photo studio, got the plug there. Like, there was a lot of fun stuff associated with it. But I don't know. I mean, I guess the fun part would have been going,
Right.
but then it just happened on a private YouTube link. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, no, it definitely was a fun way to be excited about something for a month,
Yeah.
I
And
guess.
you're gonna have a lot of Emmy nominations in the future. So
Well, I mean, if only just to dethrone, to have more Emmys than, or equal Emmys to Forky.
yeah.
We'll see.
Um, Again, I know it stings and it burns, but you should check out at least give Forky a shot. You might like it. It's kind of funny. Granted, I'm into Pixar. You know, I'm a fan of
I
Disney stuff. So
I like Pixar. I mean, look at this. I like Disney. But
yeah.
Forky, I don't know. Forky for me, absolutely canceled. No bouncing back from this. May he burn.
So like if you had lost to like I don't know, The Simpsons or something like that, would you be like done with The Simpsons forever?
No, no. I think that was like because the other nominee in our category was Steven Universe, and it would have been great to
Ah,
lose to Steven Universe. Wouldn't have had a single problem with it. But Forky, I mean, just really anytime you're like, well, Disney has like, if Disney's nominated for the award in a category like this, they're simply just going to win, even if
yeah.
their video is 45 seconds long. And like Tony Hale recorded something in a closet for 5 seconds, like it's just going to win an Emmy.
I don't
And
understand how
it's
those three
obnoxious.
shows are in the same category. Like
It's so
Robot Chicken,
weird.
Forky, Stevie, like none of them seem to have any overlap really.
Yeah, it's kind of a chaotic category, and also just it's like three nominees only is weird. It's all very weird to me. This was I don't know. I guess like Robot Chicken has been nominated for this specific category a number of times, so it's been around for a while. I'm
Mhm.
personally confused by it. But no, it would have been great to lose to Steven Universe. But losing to Forky was absolutely a slap in the face I won't soon forget.
They didn't. They only had three nominees because they didn't want to have to spend too much money on the $5 bottles of wine they mailed
They
out to all
they
the
were just like,
nominees.
well, let's be honest, we're going to give it to Forky.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, Forky is on Disney Plus. Everybody, if you want to go see the show that won the Emmy.
Absolutely encourage the devil to persist.
And also on Disney Plus is a movie called High School Musical, which
Yeah.
I had never seen before. You were the first person I reached out to about being on the show, and you immediately picked this. Like you emailed me back like within like a minute or something.
Yeah.
So why were you so excited to relive your beloved memories of High School Musical?
I think I went through a pretty solid DCOM rewatch period throughout the summer. So that was, I think, a big and like I feel like, I mean, I'm trying to think if there is a more iconic DCOM than High School Musical. I don't think there is, and I've had such a journey with this movie going back to when I was like 12 or 13.
Mm-hmm.
I started very anti, and now I couldn't be more pro. And
Yeah,
I respect legends, and Kenny Ortega's a legend. So
yeah. Did you watch it on premiere night when you were? Well, how old were you when it came out?
I was in junior high,
Okay.
so I was the target
Yeah,
demographic.
perfect age for it. Did you actually
Yeah.
watch it on premiere night?
No, because I was like a Hot Topic aspiring girl, and so
Okay.
we didn't do that kind of thing. But the thing was that I was actually secretly very much a DCOM girl. I just didn't talk. I don't know. I remember being like, I'm not gonna watch High School Musical. I wanted to be unlike the other girls. But then the second it was on, everyone like I like can't overstate how excited everyone was about it at school. I remember talking about it with someone in the cafeteria over like whatever like horrible food we were eating, being
Right.
like, wait, you haven't seen High School Musical? It's so good. Like the boy is so cute. Um so it was yeah, so
So
I did see it like within a month.
okay, so you saw it pretty quickly. Did you like try to like watch it secretively so like other people wouldn't know you were watching it since you were anti that kind of scene when you were that age?
Yeah, it was by the time High School Musical 3 came out, I was, I think, in high school, and I could just be like, I was also too old for it at that point, because if you're
Right.
over whatever 14, you're too old for it. But yeah, by the time the last movie came out, I had given up on being a Hot Topic girl, because the Hot Topic girls simply didn't want me.
Mhm.
And after a while, you're just like, all right, I guess that this like dream of hacky sack and being a juggalette is just like not going to play out for me the way I had hoped.
Was there like a thriving Juggalo scene in suburban Boston back in the aughts?
Yeah, yeah. I'm from a really large city outside of Boston called Brockton, and the high
Oh,
school is
right.
gigantic. There's like 5,500 kids at my high school, so there was like every possible subculture existed in at least a group of 5 or 6.
That's
Just
where
like,
FSU started too, I think. Brockton, right?
really?
Friends Stand United or whatever, like the weird hardcore like semi illegal gang or something like that.
Oh,
I don't
I
know.
mean, I don't know. That could be true. I'm not sure. Yeah, but there was just like there was every, I don't know. There was at least one of every like teen subculture thing. So there was like a circle of juggalos, and 2 of them were in my algebra class, and I really liked their clothes, and they were really nice. Like the juggalo kids were really nice, and I think the edgiest thing they did was like smoke cigarettes.
Right.
And so I really wanted to join their group, but I had their whole thing was like they would play hacky sack in a circle, and I had a back brace, so I couldn't really participate,
Oh wow.
which
That
ended up kind of being disqualifying in the end.
Yeah. Well, that's not very I think that's a violation of like the ADA or something right there, not letting the back brace friend play hacky sack with you.
I just couldn't hang. But yeah, they like the Juggalo kids were definitely not watching High School Musical. That was who I was trying to impress at that time.
Yeah. Everyone
So
who's like ever investigated like Juggalo culture, gotten embedded in it or whatever, they always come back talking about how like nice and good these people are to each other, like how tightly knit and like how they really don't fit sort of the image people from outside that scene have of them.
yeah, generally like pretty good politics as
Yeah.
well. Like, yeah, I remember my like parents being like, "What is Juggalos?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't like the music, but I want to play hacky sack." And so, but yeah, so that would be why I was not watching High School Musical at first. But the second I heard the soundtrack, I mean, you can't resist it.
Okay. So you came into it mostly through the music then.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite song on the soundtrack?
Ooh. Really, really difficult. Let's see. Let me get the soundtrack list up. I don't wanna sleep on anything. I really am a Sharpay and Ryan stan. I really love
Mhm.
their songs. I think Stick to the Status Quo is probably my favorite song in the movie. It's a
Like what?
classic.
Yeah, watching it, I felt like that's probably the showstopper. I mean, I was well outside the age range for this thing when it aired. I had never seen it until I watched it for this call. And like as a musical, that's easily the song that has like the biggest production and like the most elaborate dancing and everything. And watching it, I assume that's probably the hit.
Yeah, I feel like that is the big Broadway cool. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, but then also like Breaking Free, a classic. Get your head in the game, a cult classic. Start of something new, incredible. Both of the Sharpay Ryan songs I love. I think I prefer the Sharpay and Ryan What I've Been Looking For to the slow Zac Efron Vanessa Hudgens one. Um, yeah, every song is good except for When There Was Me and You, which is bad.
Yeah. I don't even remember what that one is. I'm guessing that's like a sappy ballad or something.
Yeah, that's the one where Vanessa Hudgens is wandering through the halls and the halls are empty and she's singing about something,
Uh,
something being the new girl is hard.
right.
Hate that
Yeah.
song. The rest of them, and then we're all in this together. They used to air 500 different cuts of these movies, and I remember having like by the time I was like an outed High School Musical fan, I had friends come over for the night that there was like dance cut airing where they would like pause the movie on the Disney Channel and teach you how to do like stick to the status quo. And I don't know. Yeah, I got outed as a fan for High School Musical 2 because it aired on my birthday.
Oh, wow.
And so I realized that if no one would come, like, I don't know, I wanted to have a sleepover and no one was going to come over to my house unless we watched High School Musical 2, and which is also a great High School Musical. And at that point I was like, all right, you know what? We're just doing it. We're watching High School Musical 2. I'm okay with it. And this is just my life from now on. So it took a year. But
So were these still like the Hot Topic girls you were trying to be friends with, or is this like a new scene?
No, yeah, the Hot Topic girls were never my friends. I always had the same friends, and they were all watching High School Musical. So it was like there was no one in my friend group who was gonna come over if we weren't gonna watch High School Musical 2 on premiere night. So it was.
Did you ever have a dramatic moment with those older friends when you were trying to be a Hot Topic girl where they were like, Jamie, you've changed. I don't know who you are anymore. What are you doing? Or anything like that?
No, they just were like, Jamie's wearing a back brace, like whatever's going to give her a shred of self-esteem, I guess we're supportive of.
Yeah.
I had great friends growing up. I feel like I retained more friends from my hometown than from like college. Yeah, just a great group of people that were very patient with me trying to be friends with juggalos and goths who wanted nothing to do with me.
Cool. Okay. So you saw this in middle school, perfect age for it. How did it influence your idea of what high school would be?
It kind of didn't. I mean, even when I was like 12, I'm like, everyone in this movie is 40 years old, you know, like they're.
You didn't think it would be floppy-haired hunks just singing songs in the hallway constantly?
No, I did look forward to the hunks. The hunks was exciting, but it was like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it like shaped how I thought high school would be. I guess it maybe shaped my expectation of drama club. That's probably true. Of like drama club is this like hyper competitive, like, I don't know, space where you can't do one thing and drama club or you'll die. Like, I think that was probably what I took away. And that's like, honestly, closer to true than not, I think. So,
were you active? Were you like really active in your drama club in high school?
Yes. Yeah. Not really. I don't know. I was still very like quiet generally, but I didn't get competitive outwardly because I was scared of everybody. Yeah. But I was in the drama club and people were terrifying. It's a terrifying social group to be a part of.
It is such a weird. I was never involved in drama in school, and so I only know it from the outside looking in. There's so many like stereotypes and everything around the drama club. Like when you're in it, like how aware are you of those, and how true do you think they are?
I don't know. I kind of went to like a weird, like I was like at like an inner city school, so we were all just like, I don't know. It was kind of a nice community where there were a few people who were fucking so competitive, but for the most part, it was just like, I have like this whole theory that like for some reason the lead of every high school musical, not the movie, but just the construct, like every kid who's a lead in a musical in high school has like a gigantic mouth. I remember my friends and I being like, our mouths aren't huge enough.
Like physically large.
Physically large. Like anyone playing Reno Sweeney in 10th grade has just a mouth that is like too big for their head. And I don't know. Yeah. I think I was able to thrive in drama club because I did a bunch of different stuff. Like I built sets and then I did dance stuff and then I did acting stuff, and it was like less pressure than to just be like, I want to be the lead. And then, you know, I didn't have a big enough mouth. I couldn't hack it.
Have you watched the new season of Pin 15?
Not yet, no.
they have a few episodes at the end about drama club stuff that is, I don't know, it's really funny, really well done. I was going to ask how honest it was, but I'm assuming that show is so like cringingly realistic and honest. And I'm assuming that it's somewhat what the real drama club experience is like. Anyway,
I believe it, yeah.
So in this movie, High School Musical, speaking of drama club and Ryan and Sharpay, who do you think is a worse show parent? Ryan and Sharpay's parents, who we never ever meet, but obviously have to put a lot of pressure on them for them to be this way, or Troy's dad when it comes to basketball?
Oh, Troy's dad, 1,000,000%. Troy's dad is a terrifying person. I think it's really funny, like the poor actor who had to like deliver those like nonsense lines where he's just like so mad that Troy's in the drama club. Troy's dad is a terrifying person. I'm curious. I forget if you canonically ever find out more about Sharpay and Ryan. It's like parents. But I wonder if they're like, I'm like, what if their parents are just absent and they're like glomming on to something that makes them feel important because they feel neglected by their parents? I could see that going so many ways.
Absolutely. That's a great analysis. It's like they have to construct their own world around them since their parents just don't have anything to do with them.
Yeah, I feel like that was like something that came up in my drama club every once in a while where you're like, why is this person being so intense about the pajama game? Yeah. And it's like, oh, they're filling a void. Right. So I don't know. I wonder what Sharpay and Ryan's deal is. I think, Troy's dad, I feel like he needs to stop being a basketball coach and like accept that he was not a famous basketball player and just move on with his life. He is projecting hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he mellow out any over the sequels?
No, I think he just kind of becomes more absent because no child was watching High School Musical and was like, I want more of that guy.
So he wasn't the breakout. Back. He wasn't the Fonz of the movie. He wasn't the breakout character that all the kids loved.
Not Jack Bolton, unfortunately. He kind of also looks a little young to be Troy's dad. Yeah. But we don't know. I guess we don't know the backstory. Yeah, no,
it's that TV thing of late 30s actors playing the parents of early 20s actors, you know?
Right. But I love that scene where he storms in and Troy is like working for the drama club and he's like, Troy, what are you doing? Like, he's so mad.
Yeah.
And his kid really couldn't be doing less wrong.
Right. Man. Parents are bad a lot of the time.
Parents are toxic. I had an uncle that taught at my high school, and that sucked enough. Like, I can't imagine having my actual parent there.
Was your uncle constantly like spying on you, or you were worried that he was?
No, he was like kind of like a weed smoking algebra teacher. Like, I guess he was cool. But it's just, I don't know. It's weird when your like friends can be like, your uncle gave me a C, and then feel like that is a reflection on you personally, and not probably them not being very good at algebra.
Right. Okay, so one thing that really stuck out to me watching this movie, and I'm wondering now that you're an Emmy-nominated writer, if you can bring some of your knowledge and experience of the craft into discussing
Forky defeated skills.
It's like the way this movie ends, there are just like 5 rushed happy endings stacked on top of each other in like a 2-minute time span or something.
Hell yeah.
It's like they just hit a point where they're like, oh crap, we got to wrap everything up and make everyone happy. Let's just do it bang, 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 bang right after another. Like as an actual, nominated writer now, how do you feel about the structure of this film and the way it ends?
I think it's perfect. I think the best part of how High School Musical ends is it like ties up loose ends you didn't even know were loose ends. Like that girl Kelsey who wears the hat. Why did she gets a boyfriend with 0.2 seconds left in the movie? No one cared if she had a boyfriend at the end of the movie, but they're like, guess what? She's dating this basketball, and this basketball's in love with her. And like, they just gave an ending for people you didn't give 2 shits about, and then I love it. I feel like it's beautiful cinematic world building. Because I'm sure, actually, that's probably not true. I like all those characters come back. I just,
Yeah.
it's the happiest. It's so happy an ending that I just like go numb, and I'm like, yeah, she's dating a basketball.
I was really disappointed that we don't actually see a musical. Like, we never see the
I
thing they're
know.
working on.
You don't really know. I love that you don't really know what it's about. You know two songs, but they're very vague.
Yeah.
Uh, you don't know if they're sung by the same characters even. Like, yeah, no. I think it was kind of brilliant that this movie manages to not have to write two musicals. They're like, we're really only budgeted to write the one.
Hmm.
And
Well, it's smart. Like, whenever you watch any TV show about comedy and you're supposed to have a show within the show that's supposed to be funny, it never is, you know? Like the Studio 60 thing where the sketches were the
exactly.
worst things ever made.
Yeah,
So
if
it'd
that
be
wasn't
really,
there, it would have been a perfect television
oh
show.
yeah, everything would have been great about Studio 60 except for the sketches. Now, High School Musical, you know, if it had a really bad musical, I don't know if it would have been the phenomenon that it became.
Yeah, I'm glad it doesn't bog you down with a whole separate. I wonder if that was in any draft of the script. It's super funny that you don't know what the musical is about or when it happens, and then you just see a really long audition.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it's written by a
like,
15-year-old, right? Or 16, however old Kelsey is. She
yeah,
wrote the whole
Kelsey.
thing, right?
She's a basketball's girlfriend, and she's a musical genius. Yeah, I love. Oh God, that very like 2006 choice of like she doesn't fit in, and she's wearing this hat.
Yeah.
And you're like, sure, she's that girl.
So you mentioned that you went back and watched all the DCOMs over the summer. Now, the concept of the DCOM, when I was a kid, I watched a lot of original Disney TV stuff. This was the 80s, though, and they didn't really call them DCOMs, and they weren't as formulaic as I feel like they maybe became. As you rewatched them, like in the 90s and the aughts and everything, or as you watched them when they originally aired as a kid, I mean, like, what did they mean to you, and what do they mean to you now as an adult?
I love. So I was watching them in, I guess it would have been beginning in the early 2000s, up until going to high school, which probably would have been around the time I tapped out. But I loved it because it was like, yeah, I don't know. It was a really nice thing to look forward to. It was like whatever the first Friday of the month or something. Yeah, I thought I've seen probably as I was going through and rewatching the ones that I really liked as a kid. I'm like, oh, I have seen every single one of these, including the ones that are like incoherent and made no sense. My boyfriend and I watched one called Stuck in the Suburbs. And it's also just like I feel like. Well, I bet that this isn't true because like a lot of kids watch the same shit on Netflix now the day it comes out. But it's kind of cool to like anyone born within like 5 years of me on either side, like almost definitely have seen these movies that we all barely remember, but you legally had to watch them. And if you didn't have cable, you had to make a friend and still watch them. So yeah, I think it was really nice, and they're all so like fucked up and toxic and weird, but I love them. I love them. I love Christy Carlson Romano, and that's really the only place to find her is in DCOM.
So I'm unaware of who that is. Is she an actress or a writer? Like, did she make a lot of these movies?
She's an actress. She was on Even Stevens with Shia LaBeouf. She was the voice of Kim Possible. She was in many young queer kids, saw her in Cadet Kelly, and were like, hold on a second, I have some questions. She is the best. And Kenny Ortega, I feel like Kenny Ortega is the king of the DCOM, even though he didn't, oh yes, he did direct the first High School Musical. I don't know. Yeah, they're just fun as hell. Like, they make me happy, and they're all so dumb, like so powerfully, like I'm getting a lobotomy dumb, but I love it.
What would you want to make your own DCOM if that opportunity arose?
Yes, I would. Yes, that's like on my bucket list. If I could ever get within a stone's throw of an opportunity to write a DCOM, I'm ready. I'm so ready. I want to write one of the Halloween ones. They have really good Halloween ones.
Yeah, and now that this podcast got shifted back a month or two, I feel like I should be talking about the Halloween ones now. But
Mom's
I guess
got a date with a vampire.
Yeah, I'll save that for next year. Yeah. And some of the ones I, as a kid, loved were Halloween themed, like Mr. Boogedy.
Ooh, I haven't seen that.
It's really messed up. And it's got some Massachusetts stuff in it, too. It's got some Puritan Pilgrim action going on. Halloween Town, I've never seen. That's one of the big ones from the aughts, right?
Iconic. Yes, that's a huge one. The first DCOM ever was a Halloween one. It was Under Wraps, starring the voice of Patrick Starr as a mummy.
I was going to say, with that name, it's got to be mummy business.
Yeah, absolutely. Kids find a mummy, madness ensues. The Halloween ones are always really, really fun because it's always like children finding a very dated, cursed object. Phantom of the Megaplex. Oh my God, Mickey Rooney's in that one. He's like 500 years old. And
that's an amazing name.
Phantom of the it's Phantom of the Opera, but what if it was at a movie theater in 2002? You're just like, I love it. And the Phantom, it's Mickey Rooney.
And he's just been sitting here for 80 years with no one noticing him.
It is so weird. Yeah, that is like almost certainly how I learned who Mickey Rooney was, where my mom was like, oh my God. I was like, who is that?
Man, so you mentioned that, they're kind of toxic. Like they're definitely sort of a very conservative, I think, viewpoint of society and the world. If you had kids, would you let them watch all these old DCOMs?
I don't know. I think probably yes, provided that there were, but I don't know that my kids would want to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it is interesting. And it seems like the DCOMs have grown more progressive, definitely, since this, where it was like, I mean, Kenny Ortega is a queer director and he wasn't allowed to have a queer character like that wasn't just like coding in his own movie.
Yeah.
That sucks. But now that's not the case. And like he's actually able to talk about that in public without getting like yelled at by whoever whatever draconian evil old man is running Disney at this time.
Yeah. Have they retroactively cleared up that Ryan is definitively gay?
I wonder. I know he addressed it recently. I think that Kenny Ortega, and I'm like paraphrasing, but I think he was like, well, I always thought of him as a queer character, but like in 2006, that was just not a risk that you could take, which is so, I mean, it's like, it's 2006. That's not at all shocking, but it's such a bummer because Kenny Ortega was like doing the Disney Channel such a huge favor by even agreeing to do this movie because he was like a big deal choreographer, you know, didn't necessarily have to do this. And then he still couldn't have a gay character in his own damn movie. Ridiculous.
It's surprising that this kind of became like this made-for-TV movie that I think people outside of the age bracket had no knowledge or expectations for, that this kind of became Kenny Ortega's like defining thing for so many people, considering the career he had before he made High School Musical and how established and how famous he was. I literally have a t-shirt that says I heart Kenny Ortega. I think he's so awesome. He's such a legend. His online presence is immaculate. He's just like the most enthusiastic person on the planet. He's directing, I have seen 0 of them, but he's still directing really, really popular DCOMs. It seems like when he like hit on something with High School Musical, he was like, all right, fine, let's do it. Because it seems like they gave him like carte blanche at this point to make whatever the fuck he wants. He directed a Cheetah Girls movie. Oh, awesome. But the Descendants franchise. I was going to bring that up. That's like massive right now, or was a couple years ago with kids. Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's like they're the kids of the Disney villains. They're like angsty teens. And their teen drama is with like Ursula and Maleficent instead of, their accountant dad or whatever.
In Kenny, I trust. He's the best. Yeah.
I actually watched a few minutes of The Descendants on a flight once, and just a few minutes of it. It's about all I could handle. I'm sure at some point I'll wind up watching the whole thing for this podcast. Whenever I start interviewing people who are 12 and 2015 or whatever year it came out, someone will pick that one. But yeah. No, thanks for coming on the show. I mean, and making me watch High School Musical. I really did enjoy it more than I thought I would.
It
I was
is
like,
such a serotonin boost. It rocks.
yeah, it's so confident in its cheesiness. Like it knows exactly how corny it is, and it embraces it. And that is something that needs to happen more in media. It doesn't have like any cynicism in it, which is cool,
I love it. Yeah. Even like when I was at 12 years old and was like peak cynicism, I could not resist. Yeah. And I'm grateful High School Musical exists.
That's kind of the power of musicals in general. Like a good musical, like it kind of just blasts through whatever cynicism or wariness I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not trying to be cool. It's just trying to be like happy and fun. I love it.
So thanks again. Where can people find your stuff? Where can they listen to your podcast or read your tweets or watch your Emmy-nominated TV writing?
Oh, you can find me just on Twitter at Jamie Loftus Help or Instagram Jamie Cry Superstar, and then listen to my podcast, The Bechtel Cast, on iHeartRadio every Thursday.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jamie.
Thanks so much.
Okay, look, y'all, thanks so much for listening. This is What the Plus. I'm Garrett Martin. Thanks to Jamie for being my very first guest. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. I'm going to have Carly Wiesel on. She's a theme park expert, theme park journalist. We're going to talk about a really weird late 70s TV special about Walt Disney World. Going to dig deep into the theme park world. So check us out next week. Thanks again, and keep on keeping on. I'm going to totally redo this because that's lame as hell.